Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. And this video today we will be painting a beautiful dandelion, and I will be using this Centenaire watercolor paper. It is 300 GSM or 140 pounds, 18 by 26 centimeters or 7 by 10 and 1/4 of an inch, and it is also 100% cotton, but any watercolor paper you have will definitely do. Also, I will be using these watercolors from UsedAltenew, especially a tropical forest, I think that's the color's name, and also a few of my watercolors, some raw sienna, I think I will be using green, some black, and I believe those are all the colors we'll be using. I'm starting off with pre-wetting my paper, just keeping the part where the sketch is, where the part of dandelion is, and everything else I am pre-wetting. After that, I've mixed in some of my greens. First, I was using tropical forest, then mix of tropical forest and green, added a little bit of the black. So those are the mixes of the colors I will be using, and also some raw sienna for the background. So I'm just tapping with the tip of my brush, adding those colors here and there, wherever I see fit, looking like there is something in the background, but it is quite blurred. So you do want your background to be quite dark, so add a lot of the pigment to the background, because now when it dries, it will become a little bit lighter, and we do want it to be dark because dandelion seeds are going to be white, and if you leave your background very, very light, they won't be visible. So just make your background as dark as possible, as dark as you feel comfortable with, but just to make that white also visible on it. When I was finished with the background and the colors, I've just tapped in some clean water to add a little bit more of the texture, because those droplets of clean water will pick up a little bit of the paint, move it around, and leave beautiful textures. While that was drying, I did a little bit more of the details with the same colors on the dandelion, and then left it to dry completely. When it was dry, we can move on to painting the bud of the dandelion and also the dandelion seeds. And I'm starting with a light wash of my greens and a little bit of raw sienna to paint in the first layer. I did also use some browns for the bud, and I picked up, this one is called Coffee Break. I love those names on UsedAltenew watercolors. They have very, very nice names, fun names. So this one is called Coffee Break. So I've picked up a little bit of that color, and also building the layers and darker parts with browns. But of course you can use any brown colors you have. You can use here maybe some burnt sienna and also sepia. That would definitely be fine. Just doing a couple of details here and there. As you can see, I'm just going back and forth, adding some details. As one detail, as one layer dries, I'm just adding another one on top to build in the shadows, to build in the highlights, and to build in that 3D look for my dandelion. Again, when finished with that for now, I will move on to doing the seeds, and you can use for that X-Acto knife, you can use a white gel pen, or you can use a white gouache. I will be using first X-Acto knife, so you can of course use any knife you have. If it has a very sharp pointy tip that you can just scratch on your watercolor paper, but not too deep. Don't go too deep with those scratches, just the light scratches to pick up that layer of colors. And I am doing the seeds with that, with X-Acto knife. So first that little stem on the seeds, and then those little lines. And I will be also using some white gouache later on, so that's also an option if you don't have an X-Acto knife or anything that you can scrabble onto your watercolor paper, that you can scratch on your watercolor paper. You can use white gouache, as you can see right now. But just when you do use a white gouache, make sure you use a very thick coat of white gouache. Don't dilute it a lot with water. Just add just enough with the water that you can move it around, because if you do add too much water when it dries, it will be also quite transparent and those seed heads won't be visible. Now you can see that the darker the background is, the more visible those seeds are. So just make sure your background is quite dark. I would wish maybe that mine is a little bit darker, but it is what it is. I do like it how it looks. They are visible, they are very delicate, but you know, adding a little bit more of the pigment to the background will make them pop even more. So again, just going back and forward, adding a little bit more of the details to the bud and to the seeds, some darkening, making the distinction between some seeds, and adding a little bit more of the details to them. At the end, my bud will be quite dark. I did want to make it stand out, so I did it quite dark, especially when you compare it to the seeds, which are very, very white. I did add a couple of splatters with white gouache. I'm sorry that wasn't visible on camera. My camera stopped, so it wasn't recorded, but I just used the white gouache and also added a couple of splatters with white gouache. Now a little bit more details just on the right side of my seeds. I've added a couple of lines with the brown just to make it a little bit more stand out and to make some shadows there. And with that, I'll be finishing off this painting in this video. I hope you guys like it and you enjoyed it. Maybe give it a try. And if you do like it, please hit the like button, share it and comment. There is also a thanks button there. You might want to say thank you, so click on that button and you'll get a little bit more info about that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that also. That would mean a lot to me. And again, thank you so much for watching and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!